A quick look at the temporary nocks. It's just a little hickory overlay glued on. Double groove at that end so I can use a stringer on it. Single groove at that end. Because what I intend to do next is increase the brace height until I've got it fully braced and full draw. You can see it hasn't really taken any set yet, but before that a quick word about heat treating for anyone who isn't familiar with it. When I first heard about it, I thought I'll do an experiment to see if it works. So I clamped up a bit of hazel, blasted it with a heat gun, put weights on it to see the deflection, and it made no difference at all. And I posted this on Primitive Archer, which is a brilliant forum, and was lightly castigated for not doing it properly. And it was suggested I read Traditional Bowyer's Bible, I think it's volume 4, which I duly did. And I learnt my lesson. It's not about just scorching the wood to make it black. It doesn't do anything. It's a long, slow, steady process. And the heat penetrates a good 3 or 4 millimetres, well, probably 3 millimetres into the wood. You've got to get it above 200 degrees C, and it should take about 40 minutes for each limb of a bow. If you can do it quickly, you're doing it too quickly. If you're not bored rigid, you're doing it too quickly. It's a long, slow process. And the theory is it hardens the resins in the wood, makes it harder and increases your draw weight. Anyway, it does work. It's been well proven. Try it if you like. The other advantage of heat treating is hardening the belly means it's less likely to crizzle, which is, you know, crizzles are the compression cracks you get on the belly of some woods, typically ash. Not sure about hickory, but most woods, well, a lot of woods are better in tension than compression, so anything that hardens up the belly is a useful thing. Right, you'll see I've got it at a low brace. That was a bit of a struggle. Pull it some more and see how it's looking, because at a brace the string angles all change a bit, so the tiller can look different. It's looking alright, isn't it? I'll need to round all the corners, especially on near the grip, to make it more comfortable. The outer, yeah, the outers could come round some more. The thing is, as I work down the outers, try and get the tips coming round more, I'll lose draw weight. But I can always bring the nocks in an inch if I'm that fussed. The real point is, though, you're better off having a well-tillered 90-pounder than a poorly tillered 120 with all the bend in the middle that's going to take a load of set and maybe explode. It's all about the tiller, basically. That was 90 at 27, so I can do some arithmetic on that. That would equate to 103 pounds. So if I assume I'm after 100 now for the sake of it, I can get the tips working round a bit more. I'll review the video, do some more, perhaps put on the horn nocks. I mean, I didn't promise 120, I was aiming for 120. If I get 100, I'll still be a lot more accurate than a politician's promise. So I think we're doing okay. I've got the bow sort of finished. I've not had it quite to full brace yet, but I'll do that in a minute. But this is a bit of a walk round so that you can see it's much more longbow shaped now. Tapered the tips a good deal. Got horn nocks on. They've not been polished up yet, but they're nicely blended in. And you'll see we go from a round section to a rectangular section over sort of about 1.5 feet. You'll also see where I've rounded off the corners, it has rounded the belly somewhat, and you can see the heat treating there, and you can actually feel the difference in the wood. Where it's heat treated, it's a lot harder. Occasionally it's scorched slightly, which has taken the strength out of it, but it's just a very fine surface layer. It's still a bit too flat bellied in places, so it probably doesn't qualify according to the rules as a long bow. But if it had an extra couple of millimetres on the belly, I could have rounded it more and got to the target weight I wanted. However, I have rounded it substantially at the grip, because people talk about hand shock, which is, to my mind, 9 times out of 10 a lot of nonsense, and the shock is caused by the back of the bow being much too flat, the corners being sharp, and they dig into your knuckles. So if you've got a comfortable grip, you probably won't feel any hand shock. But one of the other nice things about the bow is it's got this lovely hint of reflex in it still at the tips. Now that's not steamed in or heated in. All I did is I followed a ring when I was sawing out from the board, and it just happened that it had this hint of reflex at either end. Anyhow, that's enough yakking. We'll get it on the tiller. Blimey, that was a nightmare to brace, because all my stringers were either too stretchy and too long, or using old Warbow strings, they were a little bit short, and I'd just about get it braced and ping, the string would pop off. Anyhow, I've got it braced. Ugh. Let's have a look. I'll try and keep my head out of the... I suppose I should do a lot of exercise first. I think the tips are coming around a bit more now. There's 90. About 29. Yeah, it's looking quite handsome. If you bear in mind there was a hint of reflex in those tips, now I think she's working quite nicely. Been set braced for about an hour and a half while I had a bite to eat and a cup of tea. Then I was doing the video and I realised my head was in the way again, so I'm going to have to sit on the floor and do it again. Right, so I'll sit on the floor. What's the downside is I've got to struggle to get back up again. It's hard work. See what the bow's doing, but we'll just have to trust it won't go bang. Where's 28? That was a good 31. I suppose I could have gone to 32, but 98 at 31. I think we can call it 100 at 32, but that'll do me for now. I wonder if I can pop the string off without the stringer. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's take a whisker of... Now you get that question, is that set or is that string follow? You see, that might relax out after a couple of hours. But anyhow, that's not bad.